soul searching. Alize is at her wit's end. Yeah, it's got to be rough for her. A few friends...
I'm glad you've come, though I'm afraid there's little in the way of good news.
Obviously some of the friends their souls have been snatched from their body, and we've heard no word from Alphino. So, again, things have got to be rough for her.
After you left, we reached out to both the Alchemists Guild and Stillglade Fane and attempted all manner of treatments. But the results were always the same. Whatever the answer is, it's not alchemy or conjuring. Why did it have to be Y'shtola and Urianger and not me? Out of all of us, they are the ones who could feasibly have solved this puzzle. And Alphino's still missing. God, it's all going wrong. Where do we even start?
A grave situation indeed. Might I be of some assistance?
Kryl? Yeah.
Kryl! I thought you busy delving into the mysteries of Eureka.
When word reached me of the plight of our friends, I could not well stay away. As a fellow scion, not to mention your erstwhile mentor, this is one of those times you should feel free to call on me, regardless of my personal circumstances.
Yes, I should have thought of that. Thank you for coming, Kryl. We would welcome your insight.
And I should be happy to provide it. Now, what's this I hear about Alphino heading into Imperial territory? That boy always did have some funny ideas. Do you remember the speech he gave when he was accepted to the Studium?
My life's goal is naught less than the salvation of this star.
That particular grand pronouncement has been a source of great embarrassment to him, as you know. But the fact of the matter is, he meant every word and has lived his life accordingly.
Yes, he remains altruistic to a fault. But I'm worried he was too fixated on his goals to see the dangers, as has happened before.
You needn't be so concerned. Though his values remain the same, Alphino is not the blinkered boy he once was. Slowly but surely his eyes have been opened, thanks to a certain someone. A certain someone whom he'd be mortified to learn had heard about his little speech. Mum's the word, eh?
I love that, slow, double blink.
Right, I'd better have a look at our patients. They're in the infirmary, I assume. I'll need absolute quiet, so it would be best if I did this alone. If you'll excuse me.
But yeah, that double blink of, what did I just see?
All three are in fine physical health. At a glance, I would say they were merely sound asleep. Except for the fact that I couldn't sense the slightest trace of them in their bodies. It's as if their souls have taken leave of their physical forms.
We already established that, didn't we?
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
The Elder Seedseer made a similar observation.
I've read the report. When you heard this mysterious voice, you described feeling as if you were somewhere else, yes? If we assume the ether which comprises your essence is being drawn to some other place, then it may be possible to follow the trail it leaves behind, just as we did in our search for Thancred.
I wasn't around for that, but I can't imagine it was easy.
Oh, it wasn't. But that's no reason not to try. I will have need of Master Matoya's crystal eye if I'm even to make the attempt. So I suggest we pay her a visit.
Good old Master Matoya. Those are always good scenes. So to Idleshire then. Yeah, I like Master Matoya, the kind of... I don't know what you'd call it. It's like a bit of like a dry humor she has. A bit biting as well. And it's what I liked about the scene with Y'shtola last night in the Azim Steppe, you know, and she even makes note that like she's becoming her, which you know, you can only presume is Matoya. And then then she goes so far as to call herself Matoya on the first, so I don't know that I know we've got the battlefield stuff. Gimlet Dark, you know, and wherever that instanced area is, you know, where we meet up with the crew and everything. But I don't recall much else. Please do keep Alphino's little speech to yourself. He can be awfully sensitive at times. I've heard Master Matoya was something of a recluse, but this seems extreme. Still, I'll happily overlook her eccentricities if she agrees to help us. So Alize hasn't been here yet? Interesting. I know obviously Alphino has, and Matoya mistaked him, I think, just for a girl, not necessarily Alize. Because I imagine Matoya's never actually met them, but maybe knows of them through their father. I don't know. I just like this music. Always makes me feel good.
Come to disturb my peace again, have you? I hide myself away in a cave, and still you people insist on pestering me with your problems. Oh, I mistook you for young what's-his-name, but I see now you're the sister. Weren't you supposed to be the lively one? I've seen happier faces at a rain-sodden burial.
Well, I'm sorry to dash your expectations, but the situation isn't exactly conducive to gaiety.
That's more like it. Stoller used to spit and hiss like a wildcat too. Better for a young thing like you to be filled with fire and leave the doom and gloom to your elders. Now, what exactly does this tragic situation of yours have to do with me?
If I may, Master Matoya, we have need of your crystal eye once more.
It's like, who did you lose this time?
And Stoller is one of the afflicted, is she? Very well. She may be an ungrateful stray, but she's my ungrateful stray, and I'll not see her buried before I am.
Yeah, Matoya's like the type that enjoys, finds joy in being grumpy.
Right. Let us see what we can see. I'll begin from where our friends first fell, and cast my senses out from there.
Reminds me of like Professor X. Like she can just see throughout the whole world. And finds nothing.
What is it? Did you find them?
This doesn't make sense. How is it even possible?
How is what possible? Kryl, what did you see?
The threads, they just ended. And no, I didn't lose track of them. I followed them as far as they went. It's as if they were cut off.
Could their ether have dissipated if it had? Oh gods! Their bodies are just husks. It's like the broodmother's daughter all over again.
No, this is different. The Kalyana girl was already dead, body and soul, when Lakshmi effected her resurrection.
Aye, let's not jump to conclusions. If their physical forms yet breathe, and show no signs of wasting, then it follows that their souls must still be intact somewhere.
But where?
That's the question, isn't it, girl? Death has not taken them to the ethereal sea, yet there are no tracks left for us to follow.
We're no closer to an answer than when we started. But knowing their souls are still out there is progress of a sort. We just have to keep looking. Pray, excuse me a moment.
Phone call,
Yes?
hold up.
I remember, but... What, to Alamigo? We're on our way. That was Lise. Apparently, a group of Populares have defected to Alamigo, and Maxima, the envoy Alphino left with, is one of them. I'm sorry. I realize we've barely begun here, but...
Go, child, go! You've made up your mind, and life's too short for dithering.
I'll do some digging in the meantime and see if there isn't some other method we could use to continue the search.
Let's be off then.
Oh, not again. The enchantment barely seems to take these days. I chalk it up to old age, but I rather doubt it's that simple.
The ether being sapped or whatever. That's my guess.
Before they took ill, Y'shtola and Urianger were sharing notes on a thinning of the ether. It seems to be happening all over.
Does it now? And here I was, all set to blame my woes on that creaking mountain of refuse clogging up the Thaliac. I fear something has gone awry. Still, There's naught to be gained from starting in shadows. You can only do what can be done, and that but one thing at a time.
Yeah, I forgot about the thinning of ether stuff. But that kind of makes this all the more interesting. I'm sorry I couldn't do more. I've never seen a soul's thread end so abruptly before. So that was the woman who tamed Y'shtola. I had the distinct feeling of being grabbed by the scruff of the neck and having the nonsense shaken out of me. When Alphino is back, I'd like to visit again and ask her what tale she has of grandfather. Yeah, again, like, I was thinking, Matoya is like a, I don't know, you know, any kind of candy or baked good or something that's like, you know, hard on the outside, but soft and warm on the inside. A defector's tidings. The news from Alamigo has left Alize in a state of nervous excitement. I almost can't bear to hear what Maxima has to tell us. But it can't be bad news, can it? Lise would have said, unless... there's no point speculating. Lise said she had notified the guards of our coming. So we should head straight to the palace gate in the Alamigan Quarter. I'd be praying for good news. I'll be praying for good news. Learn what you can about Alphino's plight and leave the search for our friend's lost souls to me. Yeah, I'm thinking about Maxima. Like, I want to say he's still around. Maybe he sticks around in that, that encampment that, you know, we go to or whatever. I don't recall. Alphino will be alright. He has to be. Nobody else here. Greetings, Scions. The commander told me to expect you. Shall I show you in?
I'm sorry to drag you halfway across the realm, but when Maxima mentioned Alphino, I thought you'd want to hear the news in person.
Ah, we meet again. Though I was hoping our reunion would be under more auspicious circumstances.
What happened to my brother? Where is Alphino?
Never fear, my lady. Your brother was in fine health when I took my leave of him, and I have no reason to assume that has changed.
You assume?
If you will allow me, I shall endeavor to explain events. Our troubles began not long after we departed Doma. While crossing the burn, we were fired upon by the Emperor's personal guard and forced to make an emergency landing. As we stumbled from the wreckage, our attackers fell upon us again, and we would have perished there and then were it not for the intercession of a third party, a band of mercenaries whose leader claimed to pursue a vendetta against the Ascians. This shadow hunter, as he styled himself, then escorted us out of the wastes to relative safety. Upon arriving back in civilization, I gathered my Populares colleagues and prepared to flee the Empire. Master Alphino, however, declined the invitation to join us, preferring to continue his investigation into the Ascian threat.
Well, at least he's not lying in a heap in the burn. Tell us more about these Ascian hunters. Who are they? And is Alphino still with them?
He is. As to who they are, I'm afraid I have nothing to tell you. Beyond the fact that they root out and destroy Ascians, they were unwilling to divulge anything which might serve to identify them. They would not even reveal their next destination. But Master Alphino asked to accompany them all the same. Since parting company with your brother, we've been engaged in a game of cat and mouse with the Emperor's Guard. We made our way through province after province, finding the army busy restoring order wherever we went, until we finally arrived here in Alamigo. I cannot thank Commander Aldin enough for giving us such an unexpectedly warm welcome.
I'm not inclined to turn away refugees, no matter which land they call home. And if they can tell me how things lie in Garlemald, all the better.
On that subject, there is much I would tell you. During the course of our journey, we heard tales that an entire rebel army had been slaughtered in the space of a single night. It would seem my former comrades grew tired of putting down uprisings in the conventional manner, and chose instead to bring a formidable new weapon to bear. Details were sparse, but the rumor alone was enough to dampen the flames of rebellion. I have also heard reports that several companies have withdrawn from their designated provinces and begun marching westward. It is my assessment that the Empire's forces are mobilizing for a large-scale military engagement.
Westward would be here.
Westward? You mean they're getting ready to invade Alamigo?
We knew this was coming, but not that it would be so soon.
We've barely even begun to shore up our defenses. They won't stop an invading army.
No, they won't. Dispatch messengers to the Alliance leadership requesting reinforcements, and send word to our officers in the field to hasten completion of those border fortifications. Prepare to meet the Imperials head on! No matter how quickly we act, we still want for time. When the enemy comes into view, our best recourse will be to open negotiations with their commander, and see that the ensuing proceedings take as long as possible.
Would you and Alize head to Doma and let Lord Hien know about this? I'm sure he'll want to hear about Alphino too.
Consider it done. We'll send word when...
Uh-oh.
Untold sorrow must be changed. Ahead looms a calamity. Eon become instant. Throw wide the gates.
You heard it too. Well, at least we're both still standing.
But who isn't?
Oh, thank the gods. I thought we'd lost you for a moment there. Why does this keep happening?
I wish I knew. Nothing we've tried has brought us any closer to an answer. We'll keep working on it. But first, we need to go and see Lord Hien.
Yeah, it looks like the dialogue in that cutscene doesn't actually register there. I mean, you know, it's just ominous words from Graha, but still wanted to kind of look back through it, but I can do that later. But yeah, I was also confused at first when Maxima brought up this new weapon that they're using to stamp out rebellions, and completely forgot, oh yeah, the Black Rose. Black Rose was kind of like an in and out type of thing. It never really took root in the story all that much. I mean, it's a good thing, but yeah. So, Alphino is safe, for the present at least. Now all we need to worry about is a full-scale Imperial invasion. Yeah, it's... I'm actually glad Lise tasked us with visiting Lord Hien. Better to be dashed from place to place than sitting around stewing over things we can't change. To the Enclave. Yeah, I just with the stuff Graha was saying, I was I just like to pick it apart and kind of see, like, okay, what's being said there, and I don't know, I think my mind was split between several different things, so I didn't quite catch it all. Oh. I am come to represent the lands of Nangxia. Long have we struggled in defiance of the Empire, waiting for just such an opportunity as this alliance presents. And then Dalmascan. I was like, this gear looks familiar. The fall of Rabanastre was not the end of our nation. We who survived retreated underground and have been gathering strength to mount a counteroffensive. Dalmasca will rise again. Yeah, and obviously underground and all that immediately made me think of Fran. And I think they said she is going to play a bigger part in Endwalker. Or maybe I'm wrong in just thinking of essentially her cameo in Bajja. Oh, and then Siren is here. After their humbling at your hands, Magni and his Oranir have spent every waking moment upon the training fields. Defeat does not sit well with the son and his children. The Imperials have enjoyed the freedom of the Ruby Sea for long enough. 'Tis time they paid their dues. We of the Blue Kojin will not submit to the Empire's tyranny. If only our red brethren would awaken to their folly. Alone, Doma could accomplish little against the Empire, but in concert with the allies who have gathered here today, we might do much. I was just thinking it would have been cool to actually have, like, the story of, you know, both the Eorzean Alliance and I don't know if this is the Othardian Alliance or whatever they call it, but both of those as a concerted effort push into Garlean provinces and take those over. But it seems like it's unnecessary because the Garlean Empire just falls apart from the inside. But it would have been cool to see that story. Lavenza, you have arrived in time to witness the beginnings of our new alliance. Our proposal struck a chord with many of our neighbors, I am pleased to say. Greetings, my friends. I was just discussing future endeavors with the members of our newly formed alliance. The Kojin and the Confederacy you already know. And it was your own strength of arms that won us the cooperation of the steppe tribes. We have also been joined by our neighbors from Nangsha and the indomitable citizens of Dalmasca. Though the scattered nature of the latter's resistance will somewhat delay their official induction. And who's the guy on the left? Because I keep seeing him around, but he's not somebody you can talk to, and you may be able... Well, no, if you can't talk to him, I don't think you can click on him to see if he has a name or whatever. And I don't know if he was in the story earlier or what, but... These proud peoples have united under a single purpose, to stand against the tyranny of the Garlean Empire. I am glad to see your alliance is coming together so swiftly. As things stand, I fear we shall soon have need of your strength. Yeah, last he knew was, I think, just Thancred. I thank you for bringing me news of Alphino. His fate is never far from my thoughts, and not only because he is our emissary. As for this sudden deployment of Imperial forces, I agree that Alamigo would be wise to shore up its borders with all haste. Every report we receive from our shinobi indicates a massing of troops in the western provinces. It seems all but certain that the Empire is poised to bring its fist down upon Eorzea. And I would help deflect that blow. But I cannot risk sending reinforcements just yet. We will remain vulnerable until airborne assault. We will remain vulnerable to airborne assault until our wall in the burn is in place. The all-important Allagan energy barrier. Which actually brings up a question. Because I said I would, and I rewatched the scene with Solus. And he notes like how he's impressed by what he has done, though not as impressive as Alec or whatever. And it just got me thinking, because I think it was the Ascians that brought about the whole deal between the Allagans, you know, specifically Zonde or whatever, and the World of Darkness, or, you know, Cloud of Darkness or whatever. But I was just thinking, like, how did the Allagans get so powerful without the Ascians knocking them down sooner, or without, like, taking control of them? I mean, because if the Allagans were so powerful, why didn't the Ascians gain control of them like they did the Garlean Empire? But I guess the Garlean Empire was built from the ground up by the Ascians, where I don't think it was that case for the Allagans. I don't know. It surprised me to hear Solus or Emmett, you know, make a comment about like how much he's done, and yet still that wasn't as much as the Allagans had done. Anyway, yeah, the all-important Allagan energy barrier. The energy barrier, yes. I thought to call it something more auspicious. A name drawn from the four lords of legend. Perhaps, I think it's Serius? Aegis, or some such. Well, just a thought. And that's what that trial set, or whatever it's called, is the four lords, right? Anyway. The Ironworks engineers report that they have finished calibrating the generators and are ready to proceed to the testing stage. Have you time to attend the first test? You've seen the field which protected as is law firsthand, and I would be interested to hear how you think ours compares. I will come too, if you don't mind, though I am no Y'shtola, I may be able to offer some insight. Of course. Time being of the essence, it would be best if we made directly for the burn. Yugiri, I leave you and Hakuro. I see that name and it's like, it's not a difficult name to say, but something about it, just looking at it, stumps me for a second. I leave you and Hakuro to bring the War Council to a close. Understood. Your mounts are saddled and ready, my lord. Wear the storms. Thank you for watching this video. Tonight's stream, like so many of them, particularly recently, was absolutely excellent. We finished off Stormblood. And as just a quick preview of the usual review I give during, the credits of the expansion, it was phenomenal. And I think I may actually like Stormblood more than Heavensward. Ooh. But yeah, and so now we'll be moving on to Shadowbringers, which I've been looking forward to so much. So yeah, if you enjoyed this and you want to see more, like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to come join me live, which I would much appreciate, the link to my Twitch is in the description down below. Thank you again for watching and have a good one.